know you folks are probably interested on our home. The house that we live in, I actually built the house. You know, a lot of times when folks say, oh, I built this house, they hired a contractor, you know, but this one, I did all the work myself. The house is sitting on piers, and I hand mixed all the concrete for my concrete piers, and it took me, what, almost a year?
Almost, yeah.
Almost a year to complete the house. The only help I had in the house was my children. They came with me here to the homestead. Every day I brought a couple of children with me, and they helped me build our home, which was good bonding moments for us as a family. Now on log number 6 and 7, I did hire a little bit of help, more muscle, to help me get the logs into place. We really wanted a true log cabin home here. At first I was going to skid the logs myself with a chainsaw winch and hand hew the logs and all that, but our home sold. The home that we were living in, that I had built that house when I was in my 20s. Today I'm in my 50s. But when I was in my 20s, I built a home and debt-free. And anyway, the market got right and we sold it a lot quicker than we thought we would. So we were kind of stuck that we had needed to hurry up and build a home out here because we were pretty much homeless. And so I went with a different method, and I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But but the house, we've got how much money in it?
Maybe 25, 30,000, something like that.
About 25, 30,000 in this home. And what do we got? Maybe about 1,000 square feet?
Yeah, almost. It's 864.
864 square feet. We have 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. The bedrooms are all pretty small. We'll do an inside tour later. We're just going to talk about how I built this house. I actually used conventional lumber and remade the logs. We'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. You can probably see behind me where I have a rain gutter above my head that catches all of our water, and then it runs through this pipe down this direction under the house, and we have water catchment under the house. We use a 12-volt on-demand water pump, like goes in an RV, to pump water into the house. We'll get into all that later, but come along with me and we'll kind of show you the house a little bit, the outside of the house. And where we built this home, it borders 40,000 acres of wilderness and almost 500,000 acres of public land. So, you know, that's off-grid was our only option, and one day we'll probably add more solar. But honestly, it's all about weaning yourself off of electricity. You know, some folks, when they get off-grid, they'll design a system with, you know, 10,000 watts of power. We chose to just wean ourselves a lot off of electricity. My house is all wired with 12-volt super bright LED lights, and I have regular light switches like you'd find in a normal home. It works really good for us. Even our TV's a 12-volt TV that like goes in an RV. It has a built-in DVD player. The whole idea is to wean yourself off of so much electricity. I mean, we saved ourselves thousands of dollars. I installed the solar system myself and just watched a whole lot of YouTube videos, and that's probably the reason you're watching this video today. But now I would like to say the method that I used to build this house, this log cabin house, I did not come up with this. This is something I found actually online. I think they called it the Stony Cabin method, if I remember right. They were built using this method in homes in Alaska, Canada. We live here in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, so you know, we live in a pretty mild climate. I mean, we do get some bad winters, but we've been here, what, 2 winters?
Yes. And
we've stayed pretty warm. But anyway, this is kind of what the house looks like here, and I'll show you what I did. Is so this is conventional lumber. These are 2x12s, and there's 3 of them that are sandwiched together, and then the middle one, I raised it up 2 inches to give me that tongue and groove for the logs to sit on. And it's worked really, really well, and I'll show you what I did on the end. So what I did is I built the logs on sawhorses. I used liquid nail to hold the lumber together. And then I used deck screws on the inside and the outside. I think I've got almost 10,000 screws on this, and I think that's right, isn't it? About 10,000?
I think in the walls at least.
Yeah, I think in the walls we have about
There's a
10,000
lot of
screws
screws.
in this home. So there's a lot of work, a lot of muscle, but man, I saved myself thousands of dollars. I know.
And we did it all with battery powered tools.
Yeah, we did everything with battery powered tools. I'll give a shout out to Hart brand. I know some of you guys may not like Hart tools. I've had really good luck with Hart tools. I have screwed every screw in this home with one bit driver, and it's held up really good. And but anyway, so the in theory, you know, what you're doing is you're remaking your logs. Okay, you're using conventional lumber that you can pick up at any hardware store, lumber yard, and you can build yourself, you know, what looks like a log cabin home. And basically that's what it is. You're remaking the logs. Okay, so, and the lumber prices were pretty high. This is what, 2025, and we built it in 2020.
No, this is 2024.
2024.
Built it in 2022.
We built it in 2022, so that kind of give you, 2022, the lumber prices were really high. I mean, that was, premium price for lumber. And what'd you say we spent? Maybe 35,000, something like that,
30,000
on the house. And
yeah.
It's still not done. I mean, I've still got to install some cabinets, and there's a little bit of flooring I need to do, some trim work around the windows, as you can see, and stuff. So, but anyway, we'll walk down this direction. I'll kind of show you what I've done. It's held up really good. And what's good about using this method is, say this was to rot, like this board was to rot. It wasn't sealed properly. Well, on a regular log cabin home, that can be very difficult to do, to replace rotten logs. But here, I could unscrew all these screws, take a pry bar and pry that liquid nail loose, and replace just the outside board and leave the other two intact. Mm-hmm. Okay. Say I got tired of maintenance of this. Well, all I've got to do is cut off my ends where I made my logs, sticker stack my logs on the end. I could cut that off and make a true corner and add sheet metal to the side of this, add sheetrock to the inside, and you wouldn't even known it was a log cabin at all. So that's what I really like about this method. It's all materials that I personally could handle myself. These are 2x12x8s is what I did. You can even use 2x6x8s or whatever. And I went ahead and got the kiln dried lumber here. We had talked about sanding these markings off like you see here, but you really don't notice it from far away. Again, we're real practical here. We're not one of those type of people that everything just has to be perfect. I mean, I think the oddity in it actually makes it perfect. So, oh, by the way, I love my Big Daddy skillet there.
The Big Daddy skillet.
We cook on that thing all the time here. And so anyway, you can tell I need to trim out a lot of my windows here. And April, you may have to stand like actually over here where I can show people this. So, as you can see here, there's 3 boards sandwiched together. Now, this one here was sticking up 2 inches. But after it came through about where this log sits on it, I cut that off. I cut that tongue and groove off, and I stuck it in down here and then screwed it into place. And that, so you cut this weird, there'd be a hump right here. So I just cut that off with a Sawzall and then put it in down here where it's gapped. And then it makes it look like a real log all the way down. So it's a very sturdy home. We actually took part of one of these logs that we had made and tried to shoot a .45 caliber gun through it and couldn't do it. So, we're kind of excited about that. You don't have to worry about somebody, shooting holes in your walls or anything like that. So it's a real solid house. It doesn't move. We've had some severe thunderstorms, tornado warnings just in 2 years. We had 11 inches of snow. Yeah. And we've had wind chill factors of -30. Yeah. Right. That was a real extreme winter for us 2 winters ago. Our first winter here. I was really concerned because I didn't know, for sure how how airtight this is going to be. So, and also what I did is where these logs lay upon themselves, I forget now the brand of caulk that I used, and I just laid a real heavy bead. You know, you could use log jam or anything like that to do that. I think you could probably even use just regular insulation if you wanted to, just the old pink bat insulation. You could lay that in there and then set your logs down to give you that airtight. Our first winter here, there was a few places inside that I had to take a butter knife and some pink insulation and stuff the walls really good and tight where you can't see it, you know, from inside the house. But I had a few gaps that I had to deal with, and you know, we're in year number 2, so you know, this house is still going to settle. You know, it's going to contract. It's going to, you know, like wood does when it gets wet. And you know, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of living in a log cabin home, is having to do some rechinking. Now something, I'll show you this too. Now something I had thought about doing, you know, like I said, when I built this house, there wasn't one nearby, so I really couldn't see it. All I saw was what was on YouTube. And I was real concerned about getting a lot of air through here, even where they butt up here. And but in my mind, I was thinking, okay, if I had to, I could take a router and route these joints out and then just fill that in with log jam. But we haven't had to do that yet.
It's actually a really practical way.
Very practical.
Of building a log cabin,
yeah.
And the resources are very easy to get.
Yeah, that's what makes it so appealing, guys. And I mean, one day I still want to build a true log cabin home. We actually have about a 40-foot tall bluff on our property, and I want to build a small true log cabin home there, and that's really what we wanted. But all in all, this is very practical. It's very cheap. You know, it's materials readily available. And my oldest son, how old was he when we were building it? 8, 10?
Adam
would have been 12.
He would have been 12.
Yeah. So we had a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old.
6-year-old son.
Yeah. Getting my children mixed up here with how
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. There's 5 of them. So I need to tattoo their birthdays on my arm. But I do remember their birthdays. It's just the age sometimes. You know, so I had, you know, less than teenage years sons helping me do this, and even the girls got in on it. Right. Hannah was, how old was she? Like 12, 13, something like that?
She was 14.
14 years old. She helped me do some of the ceiling and stuff in here. But it was a family project, you know, and the kids, well, if I had to do it over again, I would do it in a heartbeat as a family project. You know, so don't be scared. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, we stop because we live in fear. And we want you to know that, you know, it can be done. You know, this is something that I think any family can do. And, you know, working together, you learn how to work together. And, of course, we mixed it with a lot of play, didn't we?
Yes.
I mean, we would work most of the day, and then we would go down to the river and play, or down to the creek and play in the creek or something. So, you know, we mix the work with the play. We also homeschool our children, too. So that's one of the reasons, you know, I'd only bring a couple of children a day with me. A lot of times it's just one child a day, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or they didn't get behind on their homework. But guys, again, please don't be scared to do something, okay? My wife and I, we used to sit at our old place, and we used to dream about living off grid. We talked about it years and years and years, and I wish we would have done it a long time ago. So it doesn't take much money for us to make it at all here. So we paid cash for the land. We own 25 acres here, and we paid cash for the land. I built the house debt-free, so we went into this owing nothing. And you know, we could build onto this, but we are a very practical family. My wife actually came up with the square footage of this home. I was wanting to build about a 1,600 square foot home, and she's the one who decided to build it this size. And what it does is it forces our children to get out and play, okay? Our kids are usually outside riding their bikes, which is very healthy. They're out hiking with us, you know. They're in it. So what it does is that, you know, the home is a place that we gather when it's cold. It's a place that we gather when it's dark or hot or something like that. But, you know, on the most part, on pretty days, we're all outside. And that's so much more healthy than being cooped up in a home. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if we had it over to again, I like the size of our house. And we'll show you the inside of the house one day. It's just, we're just not really quite there. We need to do some cleaning up and stuff inside the house. But, I mean, not that we have a really dirty house, but my wife is real particular about filming.
Seven people live in it.
Seven people live in a small house. So,
Anyways.
guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.